What is going on, everybody? This is your boy XQ420 welcoming you back. Another episode, Showtime with the Q. As always, I've got my co-host with me, the powerful Corey Hughes. Corey, are you doing well this afternoon?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Yes. I think I'm doing very well myself. Now, if it's your first time to the channel, do not hesitate to hit the subscribe button. If you're listening to us on podcast platforms and have not followed us yet, please do so. We appreciate all the support so far. So, Corey, today we're going to jump into a movie. They released earlier this year, The Northman. From what I've seen, this has been on a lot of people's top movies of the year.
Yes.
This particular film, I've seen multiple content creators. They've had this in their top film of the year. So there was a lot of hype around this particular movie. Now, the actual main character, which his name is Amaleth, is played by Alexander Skarsgård, and
Yes.
I just can't help but to think every time I see Alexander Skarsgård, I go right to True Blood.
True Blood,
a vampire. Yeah, I mean,
he's True
that's
Blood
him
for
all
life.
there. Yeah, so I thought, if I'm correct, his name on there was Eric Northman, right? Isn't that right, Eric Northman? I believe so. True Blood.
True Blood. Ooh,
Mhm.
God, I don't even remember. Because that's another one of them series that was like excellent. This is dog shit. Like it fell off a cliff, just like Game of Thrones and so many others.
You talking about oh God, I can't remember the character they end up bringing into it right there at the end. But I know what you're talking about. It kind of fell off right there at the end when it had so much going for it early on. But I just thought it was absolutely hilarious.
It had vampires and lots of tits. I mean, it was guaranteed to be a hit.
Yeah, his name was Eric Northman. It was Northman, and so then I was like, "Hold on, the Northman." That's why it just clicked right in my head. I said, "Hold on, the Northman? Is this
it's a Hollywood conspiracy, of course."
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yeah, so we're going to be diving today, guys, into the Northman, giving it a breakdown, talking about some of the things we like, some of the things we did not like, of course. So let's just go ahead and kick things off. Corey, what was your initial thoughts as far as overall the movie goes?
It was great. It might end up being the highest cube rating for me of all the things that we've reviewed thus far. Okay. And I say that because it was simple. It was straightforward. They didn't complicate the plot with nonsense. It was a film of revenge, and that is it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much straight to the point. There's a couple things that I've got some beef with. You always got to have a critical eye when you're looking at these movies. That don't mean that they're bad movies, guys. Don't mean they're bad movies at all. Did I enjoy the film? I did. I got a couple of gripes. So what we're gonna do? We're just gonna go ahead and start diving into the plot line. We start off early on in the movie. Now these names, guys, these names are way out there. I have to go and I have to look at them because my God. You want to talk about a plethora of names, and all of them, because this is Nordic, of course. And this film almost at times is in reality, and then at times it's in the fantasy. And that kind of threw me off just a touch, because I was like, okay, am I watching more of a fantasy with the way things are playing out, or is this more based in reality? And so at times they have a little bit of mixture of both.
Yeah, for me that felt like kind of like Luke Skywalker in the cave, the fantasy scenes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Kind of like it was reality, but he had kind of like a mind trip, kind of it was a very similar kind of thing for me there. If I remember correctly, there was something similar in Conan, the original Conan movie.
Okay.
And so I think it was more like a reality, but a touch of the fantasy, but more like psychofantasy. You know what I mean? Because that stuff could have all been in his head, and they were just illustrating it for us. I mean, it didn't have to have been actually fantasy. So
right, of course. So diving in right there at the beginning of the movie, okay, we see Amaleth as a kid, all right? His father's returning home from battle, who is Ethan Hawke, and they have a lot of big name actors in this. Now, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them don't stay in the movie for very long,
Yeah.
but they do have a lot of big name actors in this. So Ethan Hawke is his father, which his name is King Aravandel War Raven. All right, so obviously War Raven goes out, conquers lands, comes back home, and they have their feast. And I think that's just the way these things go, okay? Whenever you go conquer lands, you always come back and you have your royal feast, okay? it seems to be a reoccurring theme. Is that the way it happened in the olden days? Maybe. Potentially.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't think we
potentially.
really know, but I think I think they sung songs about having big feasts and stuff. So it was definitely at least a part of the mythology. Because I just kind of picture those people as being semi-nomadic, kind of broke, not really having like feast upon them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So who knows?
Right.
It might have been just myth.
Right. Now this is in 895 A.D. So this is after the death of Christ. Okay, A.D. So we're still early on, and King Aravandil, he's actually returned from the island of Harafancy, and so he actually did an overseas conquest at this time, and he returns home to his actual wife, Queen Gudrun, and of course his son, Prince Amaleth. Now we get an early glimpse of his brother at this point in time, which is Fjolnir. My goodness, Bo. Guys, if I can make it through this whole thing and not fuck a name up, then we're doing really well, okay? We're doing ecstatic. Fjolnir the Brotherless, all right? The Brotherless. And at this time during the feast, everything seems good. We don't seem to have any issues. Did you catch any moments of tension throughout that? I didn't really catch on to it to begin with. Maybe
No,
you caught something
not
at
in
that time.
not in the introductory scenes, and not through that initial psychedelic type experience that they kind of went through. So
I
we
didn't
don't
see
really
any
see
tension.
We don't see any tension until the obvious coming invasion. But I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. So it kind of moves from that, and I'm assuming that from father to son, they always have these coming of age moments. He takes him to this particular temple, okay, and let me get William Dafoe's in this movie. He's Hearmir the Fool. Okay, what a hell of a name, Hearmir the Fool. All right, and they have some type of spiritual ceremony, and it almost puts them in, as you said, a psychedelic state. Now, the question is, at this point in time, is it something to do with a potion he's concocted, or something else to put him in this particular state? And this seems like a ritual from when you're past, the coming of age ritual from the king to his son. Can we agree with that?
Yeah, and then in as far as did he take a potion or whatever? I don't think that really matters, because here we're talking again about blurring the lines between fantasy and reality, and so I think it's left to be unspoken. That's kind of how I felt about all of those moments throughout the film.
Yeah, and it seems like it's as we said, a coming of age moment for his eventual ascension. As his father said, I mean, eventually you're going to ascend to this place where I'm at, and his father seems to be a very good ruler, conqueror, things of that nature, because the kingdom that he's in is thriving at that point in time. But right after the actual ceremony, when they step back outside, his father gets raided with arrows. King Aravandel. He gets raided with arrows, and I'm just like, oh, what the hell's going on? You know what I'm saying? That kind of just, we understood what the movie was going to be about when you see the previews, but I wasn't exactly expecting it right there at that moment. This is very early on in the movie.
Right.
And it's kind of shocking. He gets raided with arrows. The son kind of gets away and hides behind a rock. And then before him, you see his brother. Fjolnir, the brotherless. Yeah. Yeah. What'd you think about that particular moment? Was you shocked seeing how we didn't see any moments of tension? It didn't really give you any build up to this particular moment.
Yeah, it kind of hit you like a ton of bricks. It was definitely unexpected, but when I put this on, I knew nothing about it except that there was some controversy over its lack of diversity, was what they were talking about in the media.
It's white folks, though.
Yeah, it's all
They're
white
Nords.
folks.
Yeah,
Correct.
I mean, they're Nords, right?
Well,
like Nordic?
Right,
or
but we
Vikings?
had, correct. But that didn't really stop them from, diversifying the Lord of the Rings. So this being
You got a good point.
this being a ultimately this is like based on one of the Greek classics or something, right? This is like Beowulf or one of those. This is like a retelling of Beowulf, if I'm not mistaken.
It's like kind of
not
similar.
Beowulf, one of those stories from back then. I forget which one.
It's kind of a similar feel. But was there controversy on the lack of diversity?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Wow. I mean, let's be. I guess they were mad that they didn't have black people in there as slaves. Is that what they were mad about?
I don't think they had black slaves up then. That's what I was thinking. I was like, if they had black people, what are they going to put them as slaves? I mean, because it's just like because we just kind of moved from this point in time right to slaves. I mean, it just kind of like it was just like an instant transition. And so Fjolnir just comes up and he slays his brother. It's just kind of out of nowhere. His brother's not really expecting it. And it's just, I was like, oh, wow. I mean, I don't get any build up, no tension. It's just like, yep, I'm killing you. Now we kind of find out later on, maybe what the intentions were or who actually orchestrated said death of the king. But at that point in time, his son sees his father's death. His uncle beheads his father right there on the spot, ruthless. So obviously there wasn't a whole lot of love in between them. Maybe there was some envy in between them. Maybe the brother felt like he was the true ruler. We see stuff like this all the time. Right.
This is kind of a normal run of the mill when we talk about old school kings, queens.
Yeah, some Game of Thrones shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And so things can be like that in real life now. You know what I'm saying? In today's times, maybe not so much, rated with arrows and beheading of your sibling, but there's definitely a whole lot of in-law fighting that can cause some issues. And so we actually see at that point in time, Amaleth, he manages to escape. Now, he does cut one of the guy's noses off. Now, I don't know what kind of blade he's got, but it's the sharpest blade on this planet, okay? The sharpest blade. That blade may be even, in fact, sharper than the blade Eli carried around in the Book of Eli.
Yes.
I thought that blade was the sharpest one ever made. The way he was taking heads and limbs off, I said, dude, I mean, this blade is the sharpest ever. You know what I'm saying? But
it's like some Kill Bill shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the name of the guy that that he actually cut the nose off of is Fenrir the Nose Stub. It's wild how to just get. I think it's just what you do. Okay, in the older days, didn't Native Americans do kind of the same thing?
Yes. Like dances with
whatever.
wolves.
Yeah, be whatever, Bigfoot or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just like you always have a little nickname behind your actual name. It's not your last name per se. It's just kind of like your battle name. All right. So all these people have battle names. Now, Amaleth manages to get away. He goes back to town to try to find his mother, but at that point in time, Fjolnir has made it back to town and has begun taking over. Grabs his mother up, his mother's screaming. And so Amaleth manages to get away. All right. He manages to get to a boat and he just starts rowing. It just starts rowing. And I was just like, where are you rowing to? All right. That's what I wanted to know. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, man, hey, look, this little kid just jumping on a boat and he just gonna row somewhere. I'm like, man, somebody gonna pick him up and do some bad shit to him. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, man, we're gonna see some trials and tribulations of this kid. But we don't. It skips from that right to him being an adult. And I was kind of disappointed in that. I was, personally.
You wanted some more story about his experience growing up and all that?
Yeah, because, I mean, it goes right from the last thing you see him, I will avenge you, Father. I will save you, Mother. He goes through his whole spat there while he's rowing away. And then we go right from that to him being in some wolf costume, dancing around a fire, to him just invading some land and killing folks. I was like, dude, I missed out on, did somebody pick him up? Did he have a mentor? Because it's almost like he went right from that to completely forgetting about going back and avenging his father's death. I mean, it just lapses over that time. I don't know if that had to do with runtime. I'll be interested to see the director's cut, if they ever had one, to see if they had any else in there. Did you feel like you might have needed just, I'm not talking about like 30, 40 minutes of it, but maybe just a little bit of the kid's upbringing and maybe why he potentially forgot about or decided not to go back and avenge his father's death initially?
Well, I know that it felt very sudden, but the shift felt very sudden, but I don't recall really having too much curiosity at the time when I watched it into that stuff. Now that you mention it, it's like, yeah, they probably could have given us a little more backstory, but at the time it wasn't really a concern of mine. But it did feel rather abrupt, almost like something got left on the cutting room floor,
Yeah, that's exactly the way I felt, because at that point in time, he's probably between 10 to 12 when he leaves the island initially, leaves the lands initially, and he probably looks in his mid-20s, I would think, whenever we see him next. So, as I said, I didn't want 30 or 40 minutes, you know what I'm saying, of him as a kid, but just a couple of key moments that maybe led to him because he pretty much became a mercenary. That's pretty much what he was. They call them berserkers. That's what they actually call them with these band of Vikings, which is just a form of mercenary. And it seems that his job is just pretty much to go into towns, kill all the fighting age men, and then enslave the rest of the people. That's what it kind of seems like his gig is, and the guys that he hangs around with. And of course, this thing is, there's a lot of ritualistic events all throughout the movie, as we see with the berserkers as they in their wolf costume and howling at the moon. I was like, there ain't nothing weird about this shit at all, man.
Fucking crazy ass honkies.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You should have known right out of the game. That's about that white folks, man. Come on, man. It's like, let's get around the fire, a bunch of dudes. Let's dress up in wolf costumes and let's start barking and howling. I was like, man, y'all all right? Y'all all right? They went all right. So the next moment that we see him is actually performing his mercenary duties. Of course, they go in and they ravage this particular land. Let me get the actual the name of it, and I ain't gonna get the name. Oh yeah, Gardariki. My God, dude. I mean, it's just like, man, can y'all make some better names, okay? Can y'all make some better names?
Hey, eventually, we come up with John and Bob and Joe.
There we go.
We worked it out eventually.
Hey, and look, I'm the one that always complains about, you know what, we ain't got enough strong names anymore. And then I got in this movie, I was like, hold on, there's too many strong names, okay? Let's simplify a few of these. So that's the actual city that they went into, and they have taken over, and pretty much holding the townspeople captive. It looks like they're selling them as slaves. So that looks like their whole premise there. And this is where he has his epiphany as far as, oh shit, I'm supposed to be doing something. It's just like it's like the light switch went on. It's just like, hold on a second, I'm supposed to be doing something. and he has a vision. Is this a vision or a psychosis moment or what? What do we see?
I call it a vision.
Okay, a vision. Now it says
a remembrance, perhaps.
Yeah, it's a Ceres in the temple of Sivatovic. Now, obviously, this is a pagan temple. All right, and they're into pagan worship. All right, so let's we're gonna get serious about this. And the Ceres predicts that Amalek will soon take revenge on Fjolnir, and that his path is intertwined with a maiden king. All right, so it showed him all that within that time. So at that point in time is where he's like, you know what? I was supposed to be doing something. So let me get back to that. Let me get back to that. That's kind of just the way it was. It's like, I'm supposed to be going and killing my uncle. Now that I think about it. Now, of course, it's just happenstance that he knows exactly where his uncle's at, and he knows to brand himself as a slave to get to said uncle and cut his hair off. Did none look, and maybe, of course, this is the movie, so we got to think about this. But every time I see somebody just do something as simple as cut their hair off or put eyeglasses on, man, this is what I think. I'm like, no go, man. I hit the buzzer. I'm like, bud, there's nobody. You didn't. This is the same guy. He just gets on the boat. Nobody knows who he is. It's like, oh shit, another slave. There he is.
Well, they didn't have any TSA back then, so I think it's probably pretty easy to just slip onto a fucking slave ship. I mean, who's going to be slipping onto a slave ship and say they're a slave? Nobody, right? So the vetting process probably isn't too serious.
but you'd be like, you figured to be one of your brothers in arms, be like, Amalek, what the hell are you doing, son? I want to go be a slave today. It's like, do what? I mean, it's just kind of out of nowhere, man. You're just like, all right. So Amalek, he supposedly learns that his uncle's reign did not last that long. All right,
correct. So let me just cut you off right there and say this real quick. So, all of these little things, like I just chalk it off as he is on a divine mission. So he's going to be able to dance between the raindrops. He's going to be able to slip right past the guards. He's going to be able to do all that stuff because he's on a mission from God. He's like the third blues brother. It's divine.
Well, right. It would be. Hold on the Valhalla. Is that Zeus?
That's Odin and stuff like that.
Okay, Odenheiser. Okay, so
was Odin after that?
I don't know.
See, I don't know. All I know is
this is Nord mythology, not Greek, right? Nord mythology.
Nord mythology, but this isn't like the 800s. This isn't the 800s, and the 800s is a lot different from like the 12 or 1300s. So I really can't say.
Yeah, that's you got a good point there. You got a good point. This divine mission that he's on, and the fact that luck is on his side. All right, it just happens today that they're selling to my uncle, who obviously is not that good of a ruler. I mean, the minute he kills his brother, it ain't long afterward he loses the whole damn place. I mean, I'm just like, bruh. I mean,
did all that for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't rolling over shit now. You know what I'm saying? They out there in a damn field with like 15, 20 folk. I'm like, but how the mighty have fallen? Damn, bruh. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's obvious that your brother was a better roller. All right, I mean, and that might have been the envy. He's like, man, I can do this better than my brother. I'll show him, and he really showed him. I mean, he's like the richest poor king. You know what I'm saying? he's like the richest of the poor. He has just enough money to have some slaves, but that's about it. And of course, hey, guys, all the slaves in this one were white. Okay, so this goes to show you, okay. Contrary to popular belief, black people were not the only ones that were slaves. Okay, I mean, I know that everybody thinks it's like, man, the only people that were ever slaves were the black and brown folks. But every creed, race of man has been enslaved at some point in time by somebody.
That is very true.
This is just the truth. Okay, so I'm actually kind of glad that in this case they didn't just try to sprinkle some black folks in there somewhere. I was actually kind of glad of that because it would have just been like, I mean, were there really any black folks around? So Mexicans or anything like that. So I'm kind of glad that it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think Mexicans existed yet.
Yeah, but they just kind of throw them in there. You'd be like, man, this got this random Mexican in here. Okay. Now, his uncle Fjolnir, he was overthrown by the Herald of Norway, and so he actually is living in exile in Iceland. Now, I don't know how you go from being a king of a land to getting punted to living in exile to still having slaves, but obviously he still had a little bit of clout left. All right, I'm not really sure how that's the case. I'm not sure of the ins and outs of that particular setting or how you can get overthrown and still have power over anybody. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but we had to get Amaleth back there, so it seemed fair enough. You know, it seemed fair enough to get him back to him. So Amaleth has branded himself. He's gotten on the ship. He's made it back. Now, during that time, he actually encounters a woman, and her name is Olga. All right. Now, she claims she's a sorceress, and I think she's just a sorceress with her peace sleeve. You know what I'm saying? That's it. Because, I mean, they, like, instantly fall in love. Like, she just sees him and just, like, this brooding dude and instant fall in love. Which, if I think about it, back when he was on True Blood as Eric Northman, you know, all the women did love him. Even in real life. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes. every girl I was around, oh, man, Eric Northman, I jump his bones. It's just like, so Olga, she couldn't help herself. You know what I'm saying? She's like, I see this brooding dude. He's about 6'3", 6'4", in shape. It's like, yeah, he's a strapping young lad, so I'm definitely in love right out the gate. All right, so she's definitely in love right out the gate. So they actually go to the farm, and at this point in time, he didn't realize that his mother is still alive. That's when he sees his mother. We as the audience did not know that as well. We didn't know that his mother was still alive, but we have found out that his mother is still alive and is now the bride of his uncle Fjolnir at that point in time. Which the last time we seen him, we swear up and down that she was screaming as he was taking her away. I thought she had died during that time. What did you think about that? Oh, I can't hear you. Yep, you muted.
They never explicitly say that she was killed. If I remember correctly, they show her getting dragged off.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, she was screaming at that time. Yeah,
right.
So.
But I wasn't shocked by the fact that she was now married to him, because that, I think, was just how it was done back then. If you went and took over the land and killed the king, you took the queen for yourself. I think that was just how it was.
Mm-hmm. And that may be the case.
It might be simpler today if we went back to that.
Yeah. We're just going to go right back to that and say, hey, I'm taking this land. I'm taking your woman as well. All right. So, I didn't know, because as we had said previously, you didn't know the intentions. You weren't really sure why the brother all of a sudden just, Fjolnir all of a sudden killed his brother. And then, like, I didn't know if this was just like a complete family extinction that he was going for. So you really don't know any details. And then boom, out of nowhere, he sees his mother and he's like, oh shit. And she hasn't aged a day. I was like, damn, Nicole Kidman. Now this had Nicole Kidman as Queen Gudrun, which is a terrible name.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, another big name actor in this particular film. And she didn't age a day, and they've actually have had a son, which his name is Gunnar. So not only has she wed him, but they actually bore a child as well. So of course, that's making Amaleth feel some type of way. Of course, he still believes that his mother's in trouble. That's what he believes.
Right.
And then he finds out something differently a little bit later. So what'd you think about the initial, him getting to the island, him ingratiating himself with the actual other slaves, and his tactics as far as his plan. He didn't seem to have much of a plan when he actually landed initially.
Right. No, he did a good job of blending in amongst the slaves, and then he becomes kind of trusted amongst the slaves underneath his uncle, but his uncle doesn't recognize him. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Then you have and prior to him becoming like the head of the slaves, he kind of gets pushed into that position because they're playing a game that kind of reminded me of like football or rugby or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it's almost similar to lacrosse.
Yeah, and it had a stick, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And he ends up, there's obviously a bully on the field, and he's not having it. And, he takes that bully out permanently. So that kind of gained the attention of the lord of the manor.
Yep. And it gains the attention of Fjolnir. And it's pretty obvious that, a lot of things have changed as far as with Amalith from when he was a kid up until now. He looks totally different. So he travels under the shadows, even though he knows everybody, verbatim. I mean, spot on, because everybody pretty much looks the same. So he's able to point everybody out. Now, right before that, he actually sneaks out at night, and he encounters another one of these he witches, almost like Hymir was. Now, he actually has Hymir's head, this particular he witch. And they go through this psychedelic moment, and it is revealed to him that Hymir was actually murdered by Fjolnir. So not only was his father murdered, but Hymir was murdered as well. So that's actually revealed to him. And then he actually tells Amalith about Dragor, which is a magical sword at the gates of hell. And this is where I was like, what the hell am I watching now? I was I was like, hold on a second. Because all of a sudden, Bo, he's just going to this random hole in the ground. And I'm just like, man, do you think this could be a trap or something? I mean, this is this random dude out there in the hills, and he just shows his face, this great sword that's buried beneath. You must go and fetch it, and this would be your weapon of choice. I was like, man, everything's falling in line. It's got to be divine. It
is divine. And that's kind of how I saw this whole movie, was that he felt he was on a divine mission. And so there was nothing that was going to stop him. And Odin, or whatever pagan gods they were worshiping, I guess he felt had his back, and he could just go do his thing, and he would be divinely guided and inspired. And so I didn't really even question a lot of this stuff, suspension of disbelief, right? And I kind of put myself in the mindset of he's on a divine mission, so everything is going to go his way, or so I thought.
Yeah. For the most part, it goes pretty well. For the most part, right up to the end. But he manages to go down there, and then he has this weird fight with what was quote unquote a mound dweller, which I'm not even sure if he actually had to fight or if it was just in his mind. You know what I'm saying? It's just
right. We're getting back to that gray area. We're getting back to Luke in the cave. It's been like 45, 50 years since Star Wars, and nobody can agree on what the fuck happened to Luke in the cave, right? So I think it's the same kind of thing. It's kind of a half fantasy, half reality kind of, divinely inspired moment, I guess. Was that battle internal in his head that was just being put on the screen for us to enjoy? I don't know. But was there really a monster or a god? I don't think so. I think that it was just more of this, remember, go back to the classic themes, right? Man versus man, man versus environment. This was man versus deity, right? So, yeah, I appreciated it in the context of the classics.
Okay. Yeah, because he has his fight with the mound dweller, and he figures out that the moonlight coming through the hole is what's going to kill him. Now, or what's going to defeat him. Now, there was one thing, the rope that he put down there, he didn't have enough rope. when he went down the hole, I was like, "Dog, man, you gonna have to leap to get that rope, bud. You didn't bring enough rope with you.
Maybe
you
it's
know
only semi-divine.
It's just like, man, you ain't bring enough rope, but there is an actual sword. Okay,
Right.
there's this actual sword at the gates of hell. I don't know how long it's been chilling there, or who else knows about it, or if anybody knows about it. But it's a divine sword, okay? There's no doubt about that. And he manages to retrieve the blade, and he manages to hide it, which is also impressive. Now, of course, he at this point in time, this is right after he saved Gunner from being liberated from his body during that particular match they were having, and he gets reign over a set of slaves. So he becomes a leader of slaves, even though he's still a slave. And Fjolnir allows him to pick a woman of his choice. And of course, he picks Olga. All right. They've got a bond. And so he goes and he proceeds to slay out on Olga. All right. You know it had to happen. It's just like, I mean, somebody got to get slayed in this movie.
Of course, like every movie has a love interest at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be part of it. There's no doubt about it. Now, at that point in time, Olga and Amalith are trying to concoct a plan as far as taking out Fjolnir and the rest of their captors. Now, he actually starts doing this in the shadow of the night, going by and actually killing people kind of one by one. Early on. And of course, this goes back to the whole mythos. They're thinking maybe there's some type of demon or something that is invading the land and killing these people. So obviously, everybody has a feeling of the fantastical here, or has an understanding of the fantastical, and they kind of use it to explain things that are happening to them. Did you pick up on that particular point?
I'm sorry. Repeat your question one more time. It was a lot in there.
So they're thinking at that point in time that, you know, there's some spirit or something like that that's trying to tell them something, or some spirit just came by, because they don't see any reason, or they don't see any slaves that could have creeped out and did this, because none of them have weapons. So there's almost like this feeling of the fantastical to try to explain what's going on.
Right. It was a masterful setup on his part, playing off their fears of what could be out there, or of the gods punishing them. I thought it was really well set up, and he did it that way on purpose. So yeah, it was on point.
Yep. Now, of course, Amalith and Olga, they continue to get together on their plan, and Olga actually makes food for everybody, and she slips a hallucinogen in there. Now, at that point in time, when she slips the hallucinogen in there, you know, people start killing themselves and falling over, and I was just like, when I seen people killing themselves, I was like, oh shit, everybody's gonna kill themselves. But then everybody didn't. You know, some people just got sick, some people killed themselves, some people were just like crazy out their mind. I don't know if she slipped some shrooms in there. It almost seemed like shrooms. Maybe some shrooms.
Possibly, maybe some weird fucking Nordic root we never heard of.
Yeah. That's the weird Nordic root. That could be the case. That could be the case. Now, at that point in time, he actually slips out and he kills Thorir, which is, if I'm correct, I believe Thorir is Fjolnir's son, his other son.
Correct.
Yeah. Which throughout the entirety of the movie, he just seems like a jackass. So
yeah, totally.
And not only does he kill him, but he takes his heart, which once again moves things more towards the fantastical as far as the fantasy.
Right, because he can't rest if he doesn't have his heart, right? That was the whole thing. The heart has to be burnt with the body.
Yep. That's the whole premise there. Now, Amaleth actually, during that time, meets up with his mother, okay? Right before he kills Thorir. And, he reveals that, hey, I am Amaleth, and I'm here to save you. And she was like, you're not saving me. I'm the one that told Fjolnir to kill your dad. I was like, oh, shit.
What a bitch. I know it was like, I was not expecting this at all. This was the twist ending. That was kind of like, what?
It's like...
It was good stuff.
It caught me off guard. I was like, she's like, oh, yeah, and just to let you know, I was a slave. Your dad took me and raped me, and that's how I had you. It was like, oh, shit. He said, and I despised the old bastard. I was like, but didn't you get like a lap of luxury? You know what I'm saying? Did he rape you? Like, really? Or did you just feel like it was rape? I mean, that's what I want to know. I mean, because it just seems like whoever's there should just travel over because, man, she was trying to kiss her son and saying, hey, we can kill Fjolnir and take over this land. I'm like, oh, bud, you gonna let your son smash? Come on now. Come on, Nicole Kidman. I mean, but she just seems like the type of woman, like, whatever she has to do to survive, which is,
that's kind of
most women are.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, that strikes me as how Nicole Kidman probably is in real life.
Whatever I got to do to survive. If I got to suck my own son's dick, I'll do it. I mean, it's just like, yeah, but she was just like rolling up on him. It's like, me and you, we can roll. I was just like, man, is she about to try to kiss this dude? And
things were different, 1,500 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, but Amaleth was like, oh, bud, I mean, what's going on around this joint? All right, so right after that, he rolls out and kills Thorir. And at that point, he steals his heart. And then, of course, Gudrun, she reveals to Fjolnir that, hey, this is Amaleth. All right, this is the son of Arundaville or Arunvandil. I knew I was going to mess it up. Of Ethan Hawke, damn it. All right, of Ethan Hawke. And so at that point in time, Fjolnir captures Olga, and they kind of have a standoff. And he's like, hey, if you want your son's heart back, let Olga go. I'll give you the heart. You can have me. And so he does. Now, at that point in time, they take him to the shed, and they beat the dog shit out of him, okay? They beat the ever-loving dog shit out of him. But then a flock of ravens come by, and they chew up his ropes. I'm just like, but I was like, but it's just like,
it's divine.
It don't get no more divine than that. I don't know how much more diviner you have to get than that. I was just like, but it's just ravens in here eating on his ropes. And so he actually gets released. And Olga actually comes and rescues Amaleth, and they're actually making their way off the island. They're making their way off the island. But then Amaleth actually has a vision, and that shows, actually Olga lets him know that, hey, I'm pregnant, and Amaleth has a vision that his kids will never be safe as long as Fjolnir is around. Okay? Never be safe. So I must go back and finish the job, even though I'm scot-free right now. I mean, how is Fjolnir really going to find him? I mean, really?
I mean, he killed his son and cut his heart out. I'd say your revenge is, definitely complete at that point.
Well, yeah, I was just like, I mean, at this point in time, you could sail away and just be, hey, you be happily ever after. You know what I'm saying? You just be happily ever after. But no, he said, I must finish the job. I said, I came here to do a job, and I'm going to finish the damn job. All right. Now, when they actually get the heart back of Thorir, but they have, and this is actually when, right before Amaleth gets released by the Ravens, man, they're over there having some type of butt naked ceremony for his funeral, and I'm just like, man, what's up with the butt naked ceremony, man?
I'm pretty sure they did that a lot back in the pagan days.
You think so? It was all butt naked.
I'm pretty sure.
Like,
Although it was kind of cold up there in fucking Norway and Sweden and shit. So.
They didn't act like it was. They just get, well, I guess if you get
They
used
weren't
to
worried about shrinkage, I guess.
Yeah. I guess if you get used to that type of climate, then if it's 40 out that day, it'd be rather warm as opposed to it being like -10. So it's just like, hey, it's 40 today, so I'm burning up. It's really hot today. Let me get me a pair of shorts today. So that was a weird moment within that. But he actually jumps overboard, swims back. Olga's like, "Don't leave me." Okay, he's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna make it back." Now, whenever somebody says, "Don't worry, I'll make it back," they're dying. Okay, that's just all there is to it. When they say, "Hey, I'll be back," they're gonna die. All right, so I was like, okay, so how is he gonna die? That's what I was thinking this whole time. Now, he actually makes it back to the farm. Amleth frees the slaves, and he actually kills a lot of Fjolnir's men. And at that point in time, he actually goes looking for his mother, and she attacks him out of the cupboard, and he kills her. One stab right to the heart, takes her out. And then the son jumps out and begins to stab him in the back. And I'm just like, dog, why you get stabbed so many times? I mean, damn, man, throw the little dude off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but my man, he was going to town with that little blade he had. And he injures him pretty well. He just pretty much stabs him in the top right shoulder, but he injures him pretty well. But he ends up killing Gunnar as well. At that point in time, Fjolnir shows back up, and he sees that Gudrun and Gunnar are both dead. He drags their bodies out. I thought they were going to have a fight ensue right there, but I guess in the nature of combat, to make sure we do this in the proper way, the ways of the pagan gods, I challenge you to a duel at the gates of hell. That's what we got. I challenge you to a duel at the gates of hell. All right. So I was just like, okay. I mean, are you sure you don't want to fight right now? I mean, the man's injured. I mean, I think you might be able to get a win here. I mean, a quick win. And at that point in time, I mean, there's not really anything to patch Amaleth up, so he's going to bleed out. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, like, he's severely injured. He gets stabbed 6-7 times.
Yeah, but, here's the deal. When he got off of that boat and turned around and said he's going back, you kind of knew right then and there he wasn't returning. You kind of knew right then and there that it was over for him. So. Yeah, you felt it. You felt it. All right, and then we get to this point in time. Now, the gates of hell, the reason why they call it that is because it's at a fucking volcano, like a active one, like a live one. With like
and
lava
I'm just
and
like,
shit.
Yeah, I'm just like, but this is like a real volcano, and it's just this is a place they go and they have mortal combat. Okay,
all those Nordic lands, especially like Iceland, like those are like volcano city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is where they go when they have the mortal combat. All right. Now, this is where I'm like, why are they fighting butt naked? They are butt naked.
It's like some ritual honor thing.
They are butt naked, Bo. The whole time I'm like, bruh, why are you butt naked, man? It's like, hey, man, meet me at the gates of hell. We're gonna fight. Make sure you're naked. I'm just like, do it. I don't look, man. I kind of don't want to fight if your dick's out. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, can we put some clothes on and then think about fighting? That's all I'm saying. At least some pants. Can I get my pants on before I fight? I mean, this thing's just going to be flopping around. I mean, it's going to distract me. You know what I'm saying? From what's going on here. Now, they have their battle, okay? Fjolnir actually slices into Amaleth's arm deep. And we think at that point in time, it's pretty much it for Amaleth. But then Amaleth comes back with a massive attack. At that point in time, he cuts his head off, but at the same time, he gets stabbed in the heart, right in the chest.
Right in the chest.
And it's just like, and I didn't think he got stabbed in the chest. I thought like it missed him. But then as Fjolnir's head went off and he fell back, you see that the blade is still stuck in Amaleth. And at that point in time, everything that he has seen comes to pass as far as his family tree, his twins that he had seen earlier when he was in that ritualistic deal with his father, his coming of age, and he gets transported to Valhalla. Of course, Olga goes on to have the 2 kids, live happily ever after. She knows he's dead. Never shows back up. But yeah, that pretty much ends it. He goes to Valhalla, supposedly. We think. If there's a Valhalla.
Correct.
There might be one.
Well, he fulfilled everything he felt he had to do. So he could die at peace knowing that he had fulfilled his legacy, so to speak.
Yeah, as far as avenging his father. Well, did he save his mother? I guess technically, by killing her. I guess
she was bad. She deserved to die.
There we go. There we go. She was a bitch. So, Corey, throughout this, which one was your favorite character? I guess does it have to be Amaleth?
Yeah, had to be. I mean, the vast majority of the movie was focused on him. He was in I think he was in virtually every scene. And yeah, he was an excellent, what's the word? Is it protagonist? I forget. Protagonist is a good guy, right?
Yeah, he would be protagonist. Yes, he would be protagonist.
Yeah, he did a great job. Phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thor had a couple good moments, even though it was short-lived. You really didn't get much of any of the other characters. You see some of the sadistic side of the mother. The brother, even though he was the antagonist, was I don't know. His motives didn't quite. I don't know. You didn't quite feel his motives throughout the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? It was just like it. You never it was like, oh man, here goes the grand plan of how I was going to take over and all that stuff. So you never really get into that. It's just pretty much the journey of Amaleth throughout the entirety of the film. It was solely built upon him, not so much built upon building up any of the villains throughout the movie. But I did think the twist was pretty good as far as with the mother actually concocting the idea of the brother.
Yep.
Fjolnir to kill his brother. And so that just goes to show you that Fjolnir already had hatred for him. And he must have had hatred for him for a while to actually go through with that particular plan. But I thought the film was solid. I thought the film was solid overall. So a lot of people will probably say that the themes and the plot was maybe a little bit too simplistic. Maybe some people would have liked a little bit more nuance. As we spoke earlier, I probably would have liked just a touch more of his childhood to give us a little bit of background to how he got to that point where he became the mercenary and how that changed him. Because he seems to be totally different at that point in time. But even though the plot was kind of simple, I thought that they developed Amaleth pretty well.
Yeah, for sure. Good character. And one thing I really liked was that it was just a classic story. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel at all. They told a classic story in a classic setting. And and I think they successfully pulled off what they were hoping to accomplish. So, and as far as giving it a score, I'm going to give this 8 out of 10 cubes.
8 out of 10. I was 7. I was 7 out of 10. So combined score of 7.5 out of 10. So that means it's worth a watch. Okay.
Yeah, for sure, worth a watch.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Probably some of the better stuff we've seen. Not on the level of like an Andor series, of course. you're able to get a little bit more nuance within those. But definitely, as far as the movies that we've been watching this year, probably one of the better ones.
Absolutely.
To be honest, and it does give you a mixture of fantasy with quote unquote reality. So it does give you that that mix and matching. You do have to suspend belief at times in order for things to capture up, because it just seems like random moments where it's just thrown in, just like the spiritual side of the Nords, as far as what's going on there. So it kind of catches you off guard. You're not really expecting it, but if you move with the flow of the movie, you'll be like, okay, as we've been saying this whole time, this is more of a divine mission of revenge, and it just seems like it's supposed to be his legacy and his destiny, per se.
Yep, it was a film about fulfilling your destiny.
Mm-hmm.
But it also had warnings. It also had warnings, right? Like, careful about revenge, because you might end up getting burnt also, which is exactly what happened here.
Yeah. He passed as well. So he actually never got to see his kids grow up or anything. But I think he kind of knew once he went back that he wasn't going to see them again. I think he kind of already knew that.
Yeah,
he's like, man, when I go back here, I'm probably not making it back. There's probably no way I'm making it back. None of the other characters really stood out that much throughout the film. Solely focused. So if you're going into this film looking at establishment of multiple characters, as far as backstories, motives, nuance, this won't be the film for you. This won't be the film where you find that, and that can be okay as long as they do the main character well. That's the way I feel, which I feel like they did do the main character well, except that one little piece that we spoke about earlier. So that's our rating. That's The Northman. Definitely worth a watch. One of the better movies of the year. Anything else for the people out there, Corey, on this particular film?
No, I think we pretty much covered it all. Definitely, if you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the runtime's not bad. 2 hours and 17 minutes. So runtime is not terrible. IMDb rating is 7.1 out of 10, so that's right in line with what we're thinking. That's 187,000 people who have rated it. I couldn't say a box office film. Maybe not so much. I don't know, because some movies you get more out of it by watching it at the theater.
Yeah,
like a grand scale of it.
Right. I don't think that was necessary unless you're a big fan of those kind of landscapes. Yeah.
This one right here, because there's actually a large portion of this movie where there's no action at all. There's like a large portion of the movie in between where you see him as the Berserker and all the way up until he performs his first kill. There's like pretty much no action. And so that's over an hour. Over an hour long right there, where there's pretty much no action. It's pretty much all dialogue, him trying to figure out his plan. So I can't say that this would have been when it came out, this had to have been something that, when you watch it in the theater, you get, it makes it better. Because, there's some of these big box films that actually do watch better at a movie because you're more immersed in it. The surround sound, things of that nature, the fight scenes, So some things are better on the big screen. I don't think you need to watch this on a big screen to get the full picture of what we had going on. Probably better off watching this one at home. That's what I felt. You feel kind of similar.
Oh yeah, not necessary.
Yep. So that wraps up this review of The Northman. Definitely go check it out. We appreciate everybody who has listened to us on this episode of Showtime with the Cube. From your boy HQ420, co-host Corey Hughes. We will catch y'all on the next Showtime. We've got Andor coming up, guys. I always got to make announcements at the end. We got Andor, the 2 episodes, last week's and this week's coming up. We're going to have that. And then we should have Wakanda Forever. That's coming out this weekend. So we should have our review of that. Hopefully we'll be able to record that on Monday. I'll be watching the film on Saturday. So I'll be checking it out then. Hopefully we'll be able to record that on Monday for y'all. And hopefully it'll be a banger. That's what I'm hoping. It's got 2 hours and 41 minutes worth of runtime. So please God, don't have me there for 3 hours and it not be a banger. I mean, there's been some good reviews of people who've been able to get into it and see it early. So we'll definitely be giving our 2 cents on that particular film. So be on the watch out for that. We're gonna have some more stuff coming for y'all as well. So be on the lookout for it. So we appreciate everybody for checking us out. We'll catch you on the next episode. Peace out.